and see if this will fit on the shelf behind us. I kind of doubt it. I didn't turn on my lamp. Hello everyone, welcome back to Foster the Meeple, a channel all about board games and board gamey things. I am back again today with another pumped up Kickstarter. And today's pumped up Kickstarter preview is on Legends of ShenZhou by Z-Mc5, who very kindly sponsored today's video. Now, as per usual with my preview videos, I'm going to give you a general overview of what the game is about to help you decide whether or not it's a good fit for you. So this is not an in-depth how to play. I won't be going deep into the rules, but I will make sure to leave links to everything that you need to know in the description below, including, of course, the Kickstarter link. There's also a playthrough video that I'll link through below as well, so you can learn even more about this game. Another thing before we get started, this of course is a prototype, so anything you see is subject to change, so please keep that in mind. I say without further ado, we dive in. There's going to be lots to look at. This game is pretty epic, as you can see from the box. I do also want to mention what you are seeing in front of me is going to be the deluxe edition. Of course, there is going to be a non-deluxeified edition, so you're going to have some options to what you get. But I say without further ado, let's get to it. Let's do it. Legends of ShenZhou is inspired by the 2,000-year-old classic text Shanghai Jing. This 2 to 6 player strategic board game drops you into a world of divine beasts, heroic champions, and legendary trials. You'll build your hero's strength, navigate epic terrain, battle mystical creatures, and duel your rivals, and face off against godlike bosses in a final bid to become the next Legend of ShenZhou. But what does any of that mean? I'm so glad you asked. Let's take a closer look at the game and how it works. To start, let us dive down to the table. You're probably like, whoa, right? There's a lot going on here. So we've got our map that is built out here. I have set up the map in the way that the rulebook recommends, but as you play, you can actually start to randomize to spice things up a little bit. We've all got them set up for a 4-player game. We all have our player boards here, along with our heroes. So we each have a unique hero for the purposes of today's example. I am playing Yu Ling. All of the heroes are going to have this little symbol on them, which is going to show you where all of their attributes and skills are going to start. They also have a special skill kind of written out on the card. As an example, for me, my skill is by spending 1,000 yen, the player can teleport directly to any shop. We each get 4 dice. We have our standees. There's also miniatures, but just for the purposes of today's video, I'm just going to be using the standees. I really like the artwork that's on them, so there we go. And then we've got all of our different cards. You're going to start with some money and, of course, a reference card as well. But this, my friends, is the general setup to get started. You'll venture across a modular hex map filled with treasure, danger, and powerful upgrades. Your goal is to defeat the 3 legendary bosses. Now that's going to be depending on which game mode you choose. So we have 3 different game modes. The first one we have is the quick mode. Now quick mode is going to take you about 60 minutes and your goal is going to be to defeat boss 3, Peng. We also have a standard mode, which is going to take 90 to 120 minutes, and you'll also need to defeat boss 2, which is Kun, and I just please bear with me with my pronunciation. I'm trying, and I'm definitely going to pronounce things wrong. And then if you are looking for a full challenge, you're looking at closer to 150 plus minutes, and you are of course going to be defeating boss 1, the mighty Handun, the final divine beast. And let me just, while we're here, he's big. He's a big boy. He's a big boy. So those are the 3 different types of modes that you can kind of play and who you need to defeat. So you'll be exploring, collecting, and battling. You'll roll dice to move across the board, landing in various regions that grant rewards, upgrades, or challenges. As an example, you'll enter arenas to battle different creatures. And let me just say right now, there are like a lot, and I mean a lot of creatures for you to come up against. You can visit different shops to gain weapons, mounts, and supplies. So as an example, here I'm going to show you some of these cards here. We have weapons like this blade. We have shields like this water shield. We have mounts like Sha. And we have the magic pouch, which would be a supply. When you gain these, as you can see on your player board, you have some space for them. So you might want to put some things out like so. That's my supply. There's my mount if I were to have all of these. You'll also be able to draw events in the mysterious riddle forest, which are purple, as you can see them on the map. The event cards are these purple cards in here. Here's an example of an event card, just so you know. If all other players have weapons and the player does not, they can spend 1,000 yen to gain any one weapon. Just an example of what could happen. You can also land in realms that are tied to your hero's origin for stat boosts and extra currency. And of course, there's combat. Combat uses a unique action card-based system. You're going to predict your opponent's moves, play combos, and time your attacks just right. There are 11 action card types, from really straightforward attacks to ambushes, counterattacks, roars, and even critical hits. Every fight is like mental chess, but with monsters. Land in realms tied to your hero's origin for stat boosts and extra currency. So as you can see, at the top of our hero's cards, they have different colored crystals. Those crystals are going to coordinate with different types of regions on the map. And since we're talking about our hero, let's just take a closer look. We've already talked about how they have a skill. These are their starting kind of skills and attributes. Then we have their initial movement, their attack, and then at the bottom, do we have any here? Let me just show you this one. And then at the bottom, a dodge ability. Okay, so that's kind of the general layout, and depending on the region, they might be better at certain things than others. As an example, with the red crystal, they're going to have a higher initial attack value, whereas somebody with yellow is going to have a higher initial movement, which is the yellow stat. Let's talk a little bit about combat. Combat uses a unique action card-based system where you predict your opponent's moves, play combos, and time your attacks just right. There are 11 action card types, from straightforward attacks to ambushes, counterattacks, roars, and even critical hits. As an example, here's that roar card. For the next 2 turns, the player's damage is increased by 1. We also have things like rage, knockback, loot, 11 different types of action cards that you can encounter in this game. As we've already kind of mentioned, you can also customize your hero. So you're going to be collecting weapons and shields and mounts and supplies to power up your character. You also track your 4 skill stats here. So we've got strength, intelligence, courage, and perception using these cubes that we have laid out on the board. And when 2 players land on the same space, well, it's time for a duel. Who doesn't love a good duel? But let me just show you what some of these do. So let's take a look at a mount. Now this mount is Sha. Effect, movement +3, requirement, intelligence, and perception must be at a level 9. Okay, so we would need both of these to be here. The cost is going to be here, and in this case, this one is 6,000 yen. And once again, you could buy these cards, these types of cards, at the shops. Let's also take a look at a weapon. We have Blade, Shuntai, level 1, effect, attack +1, requirement, strength, level 5. So we need to be at a level 5. Price, 4,000 yen. May as well look at one of each while we're here. Water Shield, Ling Yun. Defense +1, requirements, intelligent level must be greater than or equal to 8, and your HP must be greater than or equal to 15, and it costs 3,500 yen. And last but not least, let's take a look at one of these supply cards. This is a magic pouch. The effect is receiving an extra 500 yen after winning in the arena. The cost of this card is 1,500 yen. Those are just some examples, and obviously I laid these out here while I was doing things, but I would have had to have the proper skills and stats in order to wield these cards. Oh, and before we move on to the next section, if you're wondering how those fights and combats work, there are hexes along the map that are arenas. You'll see them here. They have pictures of arenas in them, but they are a little bit more of a brown color. And also a good time to remind you that you do have a handy dandy reference card here that is going to remind you of those types of things, okay? When you do get there, then you will draw the creature and then you'll know kind of what you're up against. Let's talk about boss battles. Once you've built up enough power, travel to the space of a legendary creature and attempt the trial of fate, but beware, fail, and you're sent back to start licking your wounds. Ouch. That would be, as you can see here, we have boss 1, 2, and 3, which are all linked up with different legendary creatures, and whoever defeats the specific creature first, depending on what game mode you're playing, is going to be deemed the winner. So, in terms of gameplay, that is an extremely general overview. Like I said, I'm not covering all the rules, but what you're going to be doing is you are going to be moving, you are going to be interacting with the board, depending on the types of spaces that you are landing. Different things are going to happen, different opportunities are going to happen. You can duel and fight with other characters, or you can have combat with different creatures. You're also, the main goal is that you want to get to the boss battles after you've built up enough stats, you've gotten your weapons, your shields, your supplies, so that you feel confident and strong in order to overcome one of the 3 legendary bosses, once again, depending on the game mode. There's a bunch of other stuff that is going to come up, and you can kind of see that on the board. Yes, there are traps that can happen. There is also treasure that you can achieve and that you can get. So not only are you kind of like focused on building up your own character, your hero, and you're focused on your own adventure, you have to worry about everybody that's around you, and not only everybody that's around you, my friends, you have to worry about all of those creatures as well, because they are big, bad, and scary. And then when you do get into that battle, we've got different components that we haven't even had a look at, but as you can see here, we have, we don't spin it like this, but it's just kind of fun to do. So we have combat, we have different combat dials, things that you get to use when you are in those fights. You're going to be using your dice, spending your money, buying things, building up. There's a lot going on. That's just what I'm trying to say. There's just a lot going on. And in terms of how that movement works, you're going to be rolling a 12-sided die, and then you're going to be moving around the board in a clockwise fashion. Once again, depending on what you're landing on, it's going to trigger something. The treasure is going to get you 2,500 yen. The trap is going to make you lose a turn. The shops are going to allow you to buy different things, and of course the different color territories. The purple is the events. And then depending on what your character is, so if I wanted Yuling to land on one of the yellow hexes, it's going to give her some kind of a little bump. Once again, extremely general overview. I will have everything that you need to know linked in the description if you want to get a little bit more in depth, see some examples in a playthrough. I think it's a really good thing to do for a game like this that has a few more like rules and like nuances in terms of combat and all of that good stuff. What sets Legends of ShenZhou apart is its deep connection to Shanhaijing, or the classic mountains and seas, a revered Chinese text filled with tales of gods, beasts, and mythical landscapes. You're going to encounter creatures like Beizi, a wise, many-eyed beast, the nine-tailed fox, a shapeshifter both divine and dangerous. geographical wonders inspired by divine rivers, celestial mountains, and ancient realms, and spiritual balance themes that reflect the harmony between humans, spirits, and nature. The creators of this game took a lot of time and heart in ensuring that the cultural aspects are really highlighted here. Everything from the card art to the hero names, from the dice symbols to the map tiles, every detail has been crafted with authenticity and reverence for this ancient mythology. Even the massive miniatures, including the 3 towering titans, and because once again this is a prototype, I have 1 towering titan here, but he is towering. And then we also have 7 unique heroes with mythic companions. These are modeled in loving detail, turning this board game into a display-worthy work of art. And speaking of that, my prototype copy did come with an art book, and I'd love to show you just a little bit of it. I don't want to spoil too much, but this is Peng. Peng is one of the legendary creatures. Here's our card that matches. Let's flip to another one. Oh, there's the 9-tailed fox right there. And there's a little bit of history that is wrapped up in the art book as well. It's stunning. Before we move on, I also wanted to mention, when you do get into an arena, there is a battle map. Okay, I didn't mention that before, but I do want to ensure that you know, if you're like, where do you go to do your fights? We do have a battle map here as well. Oh, and before we move on, let's just take a closer look at some of these other miniatures. So we've got a few here that I just want to kind of show off. It's really hard for you to see, but there's 2. We have this one right here. Look at these. Just trying to make sure that you can see. There are a lot more than this, but I just kind of pulled out a few to give you some examples. And of course, we got our big boy, and he does come in multiple parts, so I put him together when I pulled him out of the box. Now your question might be, who is this game for? Is it for me? Legends of ShenZhou is perfect for fantasy lovers who enjoy lore-rich storytelling and world building. It's for strategists who like planning, prediction, and tactical battles. And of course, it's for miniature collectors because, trust us, these figures are like next level. I just got to put you right. I don't know if you guys can see him, but let's just put him right here next to me, my little buddy. It's also, of course, for fans of Chinese mythology and culture who want to dive deeper into Shanhai Jing. So, groups of 2 to 6 players, whether you're rivals or role players, and players who enjoy epic length game nights with rich replayability. And I say epic length, now you could choose your length depending on which game mode that you are going to play. So you could play this game in an hour, or you could play it over multiple hours, and that is totally up to you and your game group and how you want to enjoy the game. There is also so much variability. Like, I didn't even show you all of the things, but this stack alone, this is just supply cards. So there's a ton of different things in this deck. We also have the creature deck here. Oh, Black Tiger. I'm sorry, I could just get wrapped up in this artwork for days. I mean, that's very cute. And a ton of different events. So there's a lot of replayability, lots and lots of different characters. Actually, let me grab, hold please. I didn't even show you all of the different characters. You've seen 4 laying out here on the table, but if you look, you have an astounding amount of variety with it. Oh my God, that's a cat. Mau. So there's a ton of different variety in the character that you play, the skills that they have, their starting skills, everything like that. So if you're looking for an epic game, this could be a good fit for you. But my friends, that is Legends of ShenZhou in a nutshell. Like I've said a few times in this video, I am going to have links in the description below so that you can learn even more. We'll have a link to the Kickstarter page, to the playthrough with the creators. I definitely encourage you to watch that so you can get a better grasp on how the game works when you can see it in action. If it sounds like it's something that you might be interested in, definitely check it out. As always, read reviews, watch videos, read the rule book, do all of that good stuff. I know there's other people creating some content, so make sure that you watch everything to make sure that this is a good fit for you. But that is everything that I have for today. Now, if you're interested in buying board games for this one, we're going to go to Kickstarter, but other board games, you should first start by checking your friendly local gaming store. And for us, that's a Boardroom Game Cafe, and I'm wearing their shirt today. If you like what you see, please subscribe. I hope to see you again soon. Now, I say goodbye. Goodbye.